You're recording.
Okay, welcome everyone. We've got our monthly webinar now happening, and this webinar is called How COVID Changed My Business, for Good or Bad. I've got two guest speakers here with us this evening, Lorraine from Andrews Scenic Acres and Alex from Thames River Melons. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us tonight. I'm going to let you guys do a little bit more of a background of maybe let us know where you're located and what sort of things you grow before you actually start talking about how COVID has changed your business. I think we'll start with Lorraine, and then maybe we can go back and forth. Hopefully we'll pick up a few people, and then we'll have some questions as well.
Perfect. Well, I've been with Andrews Scenic Acres, which is in just north of Milton, actually in Halton Hills. It's a 165-acre pick-your-own farm. Traditionally, we open about May 1st. This year, we were pushed to open June 1st, trying to sort of scramble with everything that was going on at the time. We do everything. Strawberries are one of our biggest. Asparagus, what else do we do? Rhubarb in the spring. And then we go right to November 1st with pumpkins and squash. Right now we're in blueberry, raspberry, sunflowers. We do an 8-acre sunflower field. It's always got something going on there. So it's very good. It keeps you going. We're in a slight slump right now because the blueberries are just finishing and the sunflower hasn't quite come up yet, but it's good. It's very good. So.
And you normally do a lot of school tours?
We do. We usually have a lot of schools, a lot of camps and stuff. We haven't, of course, had any, and we're sort of curious to sort of see what's going to happen. We don't think we're going to have anything in the fall. I can't see people putting kids on the bus right now. Maybe in the spring, we're going to gear up for that. Some of the other farms in the area, they've taken out education tours completely this year before anything happened because they are quite labor intensive. There's a lot less planning time in schools, so we're going to sort of play it by ear. We've learned a lot from all this. So we're going to sort of, over the winters, figure out a few things that we've learned and sort of, figure it out to our own advantage somehow. So it's going to make for a busy winter. So downtime wet.
Okay, Alex, do you want to do a little background on, just tell us a little bit about your farm?
So our farm is located in Inner Kip, Ontario, between like Kitchener-Waterloo and London. We started in 1984 with just cantaloupe, 1 acre, and it's really grown from there. Now our farm's around 500 acres, and we have asparagus and rhubarb in the farm, similar to you, Lorraine. In the spring. Then we move into strawberries. We have raspberries and blueberries, melons, muskmelon, as well as a few different varieties of watermelon, sweet corn, tomatoes, zucchini, lots of different veggies in between, and then squash and pumpkins in the fall. And our farm's kind of 30% on-farm sales, 30% farmers markets, 30% wholesale. So it's kind of an even split between those three. And this year has been kind of nice that we have different avenues because it's affected them all a little bit differently. So we're able to spread it out a bit and make it work.
Okay.
Do you have any pick your own, Alex?
Yes, sorry. So part of the on-farm market is pick your own as well. Pick your own strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. And then we also have a pick your own vegetable patch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
I have to ask you about that after.
So Lorraine, tell us about how things have changed this year.
At the beginning was the biggest change. We had no clue. We had no clue whether we could open, whether we should plant. I think like everybody, some local farmers literally just said, no, we're not even going to attempt the year. So we did, and we're happy we did. So we were delayed by about 6 weeks. We didn't get our field workers for about 6 weeks. So we had our Canadian staff who were off school do a lot of the field work, which was interesting. We had mixed results. They now know how hard our field workers work. And so we started June 1st. First week was a little bit slow. And by the second week, we've never been busier. It's just been unbelievable. We have weekend numbers every day. People, I think, are just clamoring to get out, just desperate to get outside and get some fresh air. We're very lucky because our farm is just wide open. We don't have any sort of little gated areas for playing. And, of course, we had to shut down the playground and stuff, but it didn't affect us at all because there's just, we've really marketed on the come and walk and get some fresh air, and there's lots of room to distance, which there is. The only part is in the store where we insist on masks. And we've bought far more straw than I've ever seen in my life. We use it to make mazes to get you to the caches and to the doors and all that stuff. But it's been very well received by the public, as far as the east end of Toronto, all the way out to they're coming out. It's been very, very good. A lot of questions. I say the phone rings constantly with concerned people. The people who are coming are the less than concerned. I don't mean they're not concerned, but they're not panicked. And so that's been helpful. We do miss absolutely having our events because we normally have like Mexican fiestas to celebrate our workers. We have something going on every weekend. We haven't had to, but we miss them. We're afraid to sort of start doing it. We don't want to raise our head above the crowd. And right now we're just happy with everything that's how it's going. So we've learned a lot about what the public wants. We hope we've imprinted on the public that's come so that they want to come back next year when this is all over. So it's been interesting. It's been a real learning experience, but at the beginning it was literally tacking every day. Every day we were trying to figure out what to do, what we could do, what we couldn't do, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. But it's all been good. It's all been good. Very positive experience, surprisingly. Because, when the schools, I'm sure you're the same, Alex, when the schools started canceling and the camp started canceling, and it was a bit panicking. It was a bit, what are we doing? But it's been very good. What have we learned from it? Excuse me. What have we learned from it? Just that people want to feel that you're in control of it and you're going to keep them safe, that you're aware of the protocols and you put them in place. It's been on the sort of more negative side. It's been way more expensive. The amount of staffing I've had to put on between COVID cleaners and, a barbecue, nobody can put their own ketchup on. So I have ketchup people now and that type of thing. That's been a bit rough with the amount of staffing that's been put on. That's been, certainly added between that and the expense of, PPEs and shields and all that. That's certainly added a huge cost that we never had before, but everybody's doing it. And we're very local. We insist on local in the store. And that's hurt a little bit, not me or us, but it's just some of the suppliers that were local, they were very small farms and, either honey or maple syrup or chips. They've actually gone under because they had tied so heavily into schools that they couldn't keep going. I was in sort of one of their 3 vendors. So there's been a few people we've lost, unfortunately, just because they were too small and just didn't have that's been a bit sad, but I really can't complain. It's been a little bit busier. I think we always hit the ground running every morning where nothing's just a regular day. There's always sort of something that's coming up. So all in all, good. I can't complain.
So what's your maximum number and how do you track that? Like, do you just count people coming in? You don't have a maximum?
No. We have a maximum within the buildings. Like, so within the store, we can only have 10. Barbecue, nobody goes in there anymore. We have our picnic tables all spaced out. We're 165 acres. Not that, so it takes a long time before people are squished. We put mazes made by straws to any areas that you'd be lining up with the intention of keeping everyone 6 feet apart. And that's worked very well. So one Saturday afternoon, we had to close the farm simply because we knew if we had them come in for their admission, they weren't going to be able to get the benefit of the farm. And we didn't want to turn away a very unhappy customer. So no, we don't have a maximum yet.
So would you say your numbers are greater or less on the farm this year? As far as number of
far greater.
Greater, wow. Okay.
Far greater, especially Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday, we're seeing record weekend people. And weekends have tripled. So yeah, so we're very happy. Yeah, in that respect, we're very happy. And it's also been good because I've got to keep a lot of staff. Our staff has gone up about a third, a little bit about a third higher. So that's also good too, because you know the local kids in the area they get the hours, they get the time, and so yeah. So as far as numbers, yeah, no complaint. No complaint.
And you're not going to any farmers markets, is that true?
We go to one at
Okay.
Brampton. We couldn't get to Metro. There was, as you know, a bit of a problem getting Metro up and going. We still question markets. I'd love you guys' opinion on markets. Every year we waffle, should we, shouldn't. And so we're still, the jury's out for next year for markets for us.
And so in a normal year, you would go to 2 markets, is that right?
Before I started, they, I believe, used to do 8, and then it cut down to
Yeah,
10.
there's 10. Yeah.
Now 2 last year, and then we went to 1. I'm hoping to get back into Milton Market when it comes back onto the main street. I think it's us. It's who we are. We're the anchor. I've always been the anchor of that market, so I'd like to get back onto it, but only when it gets back on the main street.
Okay. Okay, great. Alex, how about you?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, our sales are kind of split between a few different avenues. The biggest challenge, I would say, is our labor, for sure. As you mentioned, it was delayed getting our workers in a little bit, but the main thing is that we're about 60% capacity due to like bunkhouse restrictions and things like that. So when we were making decisions about planting and things, we, again, had no idea what was going to happen. We went ahead and just planted as usual because things were changing so rapidly. There was no way to know. And that's great. Demand has been way up overall. It's just been a constant challenge trying to meet that demand because we're dealing with a smaller workforce. But yeah, it's going okay. We also have a solid crew of locals to complement the seasonal agriculture workers. And yeah, they're showing up every day. They're working really hard. It's a big learning curve, but we're making it work. So I guess I'll touch on each of the areas. Our farmers markets, they were delayed in opening. Some have not opened at all. Overall, the sales are down for sure. But to kind of offset that, when we, in May, well, April, May, when we were looking at the market situation, we decided to launch a delivery service, and that has really taken off. So that we initially did it just for the month of May. So it was a home delivery standard box. You paid for the month up front. You got 1 box a week. And yeah, it was really popular for May. So now we've continued and we've committed to do it every month until October. So that has kind of offset our farmers market sales. So even though the markets are down, we're kind of seeing the boxes offset that a bit.
And what geographical area are you delivering in?
So we decided to do anywhere that we used to do a farmers market, and we do a lot of farmers markets. We go pretty much all the way from London through to Toronto. So yeah, we span London to Toronto. We're delivering 4 days a week. And yeah, it's super well received, very popular. It's a huge amount of logistics. It's, you know, from the planning what goes into the box to harvesting and packing that, and then planning the routes and actually driving it and dropping it off. So big learning curve. We had to do it pretty quickly, but yeah, we're figuring it out as we go. And for the most part, customers are very positive. They can be pretty demanding and opinionated, so that's been frustrating to balance sometimes. But for the most part, I think, especially early in May, June, there was still so much worry and hesitation about going out, and it's still there because we are still getting quite a few orders every month. So yeah, that's a new kind of add-on in partnership with the markets. For our on-farm market and pick your own, similar to you guys, definitely way up. It's about double of last year, kind of across the board. This is only our second year with our kind of expanded on-farm market and pick your own. Just last year is when we opened like the bigger space. So we were expecting an increase regardless. It's kind of hard to say if we would have. I think this is a bigger increase than we would have seen, but I don't really know for sure. And yeah, we put in a wide range of protocols. Again, most people are pretty respectful. Not everybody's happy, but they never will be. So we just kind of said, we're just so glad we can be open, and this is what we have to do in order to make it work this year. So if you don't really like it, that's totally fine, but we can't really bend our rules right now. So that's up for sure. And then the wholesale side of things is, again, demand has also increased, but it's just meeting that demand has been a challenge. So yeah, overall, we've seen lots of increased interest. I think we've seen more appreciation for food in general. A lot of people are realizing that, when it really comes down to it, food is what you need. And it's been nice, like, having some appreciation for that. Not everybody, but yeah, it's been good overall.
Have you seen a big increase in the appreciation of local food? I know people, I'm hoping this is what has caught on and will continue on, that people realize how important buying local is.
I think so. And I think, yeah, with uncertainty about like the food system as a whole and stuff, we've right away when when the Toronto farmers markets weren't opening in May, we started getting so many emails and calls about like, how are we going to get your produce? Like, what's going on? A few people asked about delivery, and it's something we thought about for a few years, but we just did not have the capacity to add it in. And then this year, with farmers markets being delayed, we said, okay, I guess we're doing deliveries. And now we're doing deliveries and markets, so it's a lot to balance, but yeah, it's been working out well.
So for your deliveries, is it like a CSA box, or do you have like an order form on your website and people can order what they want, or is it a standard box going to everybody?
Yeah, it's a standard box. I mean, we will work with people if they have allergies. We kind of do some substitutions, but just as needed. We don't advertise that. So it's kind of a mini CSA. Like, it's not the whole season. We just do it month by month. We started that way because we didn't know what was going to happen beyond May, and it just is a bit easier. We found some people started to travel in July, August, so they weren't around for the month. It'll be interesting to see what the fall numbers are like with people going back to school and work. Sometimes so far they're down a little bit for September, but we still have a couple weeks left, so we'll see. Yeah.
And for pick your own, are you controlling the numbers, or do you just have enough space that the amount of people on your property never made an issue, or how did you handle that?
Yeah, similar to Lorraine, we didn't set like a maximum in terms of pickers in the fields. Our fields are pretty spread out. Like, our strawberry field is like in a different location than the raspberries and blueberries and vegetables. So it kind of naturally worked out that it was never too crowded at any one time, and people were not like all at once in the farm market checking out or whatever. And we spread out, check in, check out. Kind of snack area was separate. So we didn't have any issues with overcrowding, and we really pushed for people to come on weekdays instead of weekends, and that kind of spread it out for sure throughout the week.
So you didn't do like ticketing or anything like that, right?
Times for picking?
Time ticketing, yeah, so that they were allocated a certain time or they had to come?
Yeah, no, we didn't do that. I wasn't really sure how to approach that. Like, the tech side of that just seemed a little bit too complicated for me to figure out on that turnaround time. So we thought we would just see how it went, and if it got to that point, we would figure something out, but we didn't need it in the end. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you do wagon rides and that type of thing, Ella?
no, we haven't done
Are
any
you able to do wagon rides? Do
I
you
think
usually?
we don't usually in the spring. We did in the fall with our pumpkin, pick your own pumpkins, because that field was further away. But this year the pumpkins are planted a bit closer, so I don't think we'll have to. If we do I think we'll just, you know, spread everyone out and wipe down in between. But so far we haven't had to. It's walkable.
We split our, we have ours is about 25-minute walk. It's our 8 acres entire field. So we're doing first come sort of like sign up, because we looked at the time ticketing and it just looked labor intensive and it looked like an awful lot to orchestrate. So I'll know in about a week's time how it works out. So I think it's just going to be a lot of calming people down, and they have to understand it's all about social distancing, and a wagon is only so big. So we separate it. We make couches literally out of straws. So that's your pod. And so it limits how many people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, as you said, people seem to be understanding. We're all in this together. When we have these ginormous lines, I always say to people, thank you, Loblaws, for teaching people how to line up. Because we didn't start this. We did not invent this. So, they're pretty understanding. Yeah, they're pretty understanding.
And especially early on, there was nowhere else to go or to be. So we didn't have the same sense of like rushing urgency as in the past, which was nice. Yeah. So I think like we feel, I think you're sort of saying it's all been a very positive experience overall. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's great. Well,
Yay.
that's good to hear. So we do have Maura Gervais has joined us. So I'm just checking with Morris to see if he might have any questions for you guys.
Sounds good.
Am I unmuted? Is this working?
We can hear you.
But you can't see me?
No.
That's probably a good thing. So you want to know if I have questions?
Yeah.
No, I don't have questions.
Okay. Or comments?
I find it admirable that you guys are able to stay positive with your freaking customers through all of this. I'm having a really hard time with that, and I'm having a really hard time. You know what I'm seeing different people. Willow Tree doing some really cool stuff. I'm seeing people able to stay positive and take advantage of this and do some really, really cool marketing. But we've just been in a just try to cope mode probably ever since strawberry time. And so it's going all right, and we're doing fine, but I really know that we're not being as warm and fuzzy and friendly as we were in the past, as we could be. So we've got things figured out, and it's working okay. We just started giving wagon rides recently, and we're sanitizing wagons in between trips. We've got partitions built. We've got apples figured out. So we're gonna do pick your own apples with wagon rides, and it's going okay. But I'm just like every day, I'm just looking forward more and more to just getting out of this and being over. And I know it won't be so hard next year if we have to run with these protocols, because we've developed them all, and it wouldn't be so difficult to do. And then maybe next year we could get back to the warm and fuzzy people we used to be. But I've told more people this year than ever before that, listen, it's my farm, my rules. You don't like it, then I understand. You've got a business choice. It's a business decision. We've had to tell more people that I realize I'm going to lose business because you think I'm being too safe on my farm here and you don't like it, but I would have lost more business if I had no safety protocols. And so I guess I got to lose your business. And I've had so many people threaten me to say, I'm going to take my business away, like more than ever before. And so I said, okay, well, take your business away. You're not going to threaten me. Right. And so it's been really long and tough and tiring, but we're almost through, and it's all good. Our pick your own numbers actually are opposite to what people are saying. Our pick your own numbers are way down from previous years, but keep in mind, we've been doing pick your own since 1977, and we've had some massive pick your own years in the past, right? So, but our market, our ready pick numbers are up. Our drive-through, this is supposed to be about what's worked and what hasn't. The drive-through, people love the drive-through. They come and they buy flats and baskets of berries. So people are buying and they are preserving. And so that's working. So I think probably the drive-through will stay. Maybe even the online ordering will stay in some capacity, which we never would have had if it hadn't been for this. So yeah, so I don't know, what was that? I was supposed to comment. Those are my comments. We're almost done, almost through. What's it, 70 some more days and we close, and then I'll sleep like a bear for a month, and then wake up and see what the world's like.
I know. You always wonder whether the customer is willing to pay the big, massive fines if you do get caught doing anything. Something like $750,000 fines for certain behaviors. Chudley's just down the road. The apple farm just down the road from us has on the side of the road, you know, the sign that they put quotes on. Being one of our customers is voluntary. Please.
Really? They put that up?
They did, because it's true. There's people, it's like, you're not our customer, and that's okay. Go to Loblaws. We're good. We're happy. Go. It's, you know, it's a completely different mindset to come to the farm. And if you're going to come and, like you say, go toe to toe with you, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's just,
Not this year.
find nice people, not that one person who phones. And at a phone call today, you booked a photo shoot with me on July the 18th for August 23rd. And you don't have sunflowers. I don't know in July when something's going to bloom. I don't care how good we are. So they were very angry that I did something a month and a half ago for them. So whatever. Go
we decided we've got this online ordering working, but people for cucumbers and tomatoes want to book next week. They want to book 2 weeks in advance and say, I want my cucumbers, because I'm pickling, me and my girlfriends or whoever are pickling on this weekend. And so we haven't been doing it. And it's been a whole battle telling people, because people are so disconnected from the world and agriculture in particular, that I think maybe next week I will have tomatoes for sale. But I don't know if it's going to rain too much or too hot, or so I think there's a way on WooCommerce to book into the future, but I don't know if we want to do that. So typically what we've been telling our people is, if it's online, it's available, order it, and probably within an hour or two, we'll send you a confirmation that we have it, but we don't want to do it beyond that. So that's been a little tricky, but I think that's probably how it's going to have to stay, because can I tell you a week from today that I'm going to have strawberries to sell you? I don't know.
I think that's a catch-22, right? Because the stores, you know, asparagus in January and strawberries in December. So I think it opens another door for us to educate the public about what local food is and what's available, when it's available, time it needs, and we're not God. We can't do sun and rain. We can't. Doesn't matter.
Well, I know. And you're right. And that is the positive marketing spin on it. And when Al and I aren't freaking exhausted and can think straight, then yeah, that's the positive spin. But just since I've been on this call, I sent I replied to an email about San Marzano tomatoes. Everybody wants San Marzano tomatoes. When are they going to be ready? I want 10 bushels. For free. And then when you tell them you want 35 bucks a bushel, they say, well, it's too much. Well, I say, go get them at Costco. Go get them there for 18 bucks. Everyone's telling me we got $18 Roma tomatoes at the stores, but they're sold out. No kidding, they're sold out. It's just tomatoes and cucumbers. I don't know, man, oh man, oh man, driving me nuts. So
well, it's going back to that education. I got called down by one of the staff one day. Somebody had decided to pick 400, because I had them counted, 400 pumpkin flowers. And they wanted them, they would pay 50 cents each. I'm going, that is a $20 pumpkin. You picked 400 of them. That's a pumpkin that will never grow. Keep your $8. I don't care. Like, I'm not selling them to you. I refuse to sell them to you.
Yeah, you just
And they were
cost me money.
furious.
Yeah. So then go to another farm that's going
Because
to treat you better.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. It's just okay. But yeah, it's the public.
Yeah.
Part of the joy.
Morris mentioned that he's going to keep his drive-through and online ordering, both of which are something he probably wouldn't have started if we didn't have COVID. So with Lorraine and Alex, is there something that you guys have sort of started doing that you think you're going to hang on to that you feel is worthwhile?
The deliveries are definitely popular. I personally do not want to oversee them anymore because that's where, Morris, I can highly relate. People are driving me crazy. And I think when, there's always complaints and whatever, but they're usually spread out across our farmers market staff. But now they're all coming to me and I cannot deal with it anymore. So I don't know. I think there's interest in the deliveries. I don't know what we'll do for next year. We'll see.
But you guys, when you started delivery, like gas was probably 65 cents and there's very few cars on the road. Like that's not anymore. So have you adjusted your prices based on how things have changed?
Yeah, a little bit. We just kind of said, the good thing about deliveries is whatever goes on the truck is paid for. There's no waste.
True.
With farmers markets, you load up the whole truck, maybe it rains, maybe it is a thunderstorm, you bring 80% of it back. So that has been really helpful for us with a very, very limited labor force. We know exactly what we need to pick for the deliveries. And we really like that part of it. Like we're not picking stuff that that we just have to throw out. So that is definitely a positive. But yeah, it's complicated to drive around through Toronto and drop off $80 a day. Like it's a lot of work, and there's definitely more traffic now. And yeah, we had some days that were awful and took like 12 hours, and the produce was wilted, and it was, we learn and we split it up more and figure it out. But it's going pretty smoothly now. We kind of worked through most of the bumps, and yeah, we kind of have a system. It's just don't know if I can deal with that for forever. We'll see. We'll see.
And do you have an app that you use that lays out your delivery route?
Just this month, we started using Google Circuit, which has been great. Before that, it was like my husband did all the route planning and spent hours figuring it out, and it was it was a big job. But now, yeah, Circuit has been really helpful, and it has some features that because we also had people claiming their things weren't delivered a few times, and we were like, pretty sure it was delivered, but you can't really argue. Whereas this system now has some kind of backup to prove that it was delivered. So that's helpful.
Okay, great, good.
At the beginning of all this, we started an online store, as everybody did. And my own personal opinion, I'm like you, Alex, it's just so much work. It's so much work. It doesn't always, the inventory is there, and then suddenly it's not there for the order, so you're phoning back and substituting, and yes, it's paid for, and just the setup of our farm is not really conducive to somewhere to pick it up. So they're sort of driving around, found somebody out in the Dahlia patch the other day. They took a right. I'm not really sure how or why. So I would like to see it go, but we have a winery as well. So the winery would be good over the winter, because that's the only thing, guys. I can't provide anything. I don't want to provide anything in a cold store. I don't want to be in there baking. But we could do our winery. It's a debate. Is it worth it? So I think most other people did much better with their online stores than we did. It has been okay, but I'm not sold on the idea yet. So that'll be a end of season decision to write all the pros and cons out.
Well, for us, the online store, when back in April or whenever we were developing it, April, May, getting it going, my hope was, and I had told Al this, is we're going to use it for asparagus season, and we'll shut this off as soon as we can. because it's just a pain. It's going to be too much, but it hasn't been. I don't know. We've done about 600 orders for curbside since it started, 600, 700. And we're only putting on product typically that we have lots of. So we never run out of inventory. So we haven't put our whole store on. And I think for curbside, it's just become a different sales avenue. So in other words, we can't be busy. We can't have all these people bursting through the seams at our market. So some people are happy shopping our market, so they buy there. Some people just want a few things, so they use our drive-through. So that's there. And then some people are terrified of COVID and they don't want to get out of their car and they want it put in, and so they're choosing that. And then other people are more, feel like they want to be on a beach in Florida, they don't give a care, and they come picking, right? So we're still able to move the volume. Whereas when this started, I wondered how we would ever move our whole crop without being congested and without a big crowd. And so, the curbside has been that. I think it's the only way to deal with nuisance products such as tomatoes or cucumbers, which we're in the midst of, or even if you want an order of corn. If you want an order, you're having a barbecue corn roast and you want to have 6 bags of corn, just go online, order it, we'll have it ready for you, come get it, right? When you have corn coming out your ears, it's no big deal. You don't have to take that phone call, it's prepaid, you don't have to write it down, you don't have to talk. So that part will work for some aspect of it. I think also it'll work for us for like gift baskets at Christmas time. So we'll be able to find some places where it works, and I think we'll always keep it because of that in some form. But it's all just been a learning year. Is Willow Tree on the farm, or are they too busy? Or is Willow Tree on the call, or are they too busy?
No, it's just the 4 of us.
Is that all? You know
Yeah.
what? I admire them so much for being able to do what they've done. There's on their Facebook, they're still having a customer appreciation day. Man, oh man, good for them. And they're having a new program. They're having a little farmers day. I saw that on their Facebook.
They've done that before. They've done Young Farmers before, but I don't think they've done it this year yet. So
To be doing it in the middle of this, plus I've seen all their stuff on social media, the cool stuff they're doing at Pingles, and man, that's really admirable, because to be able to pull that off through this mayhem, like I don't even like we just turned off any events or anything that we're even contemplating, because we just want to focus on our sanitation and just all the other issues that we've got here, right? But
yeah, they're pretty they're rock stars. They're rocking it.
yeah, so I hope to get back there next year after I sleep for a month in November.
Any other comments from anyone? Great. So we are recording this, so I'm sure, all the members will have access, so I'm sure when they have some spare time, they will check in. Thank you very much, Lorraine and Alex, for joining us today and for sharing your experiences with us. That was wonderful. And thank you, Morris, for coming on board.
I just made it. I got to go put out some more fires here now. Al was in and out for a little bit, so.
Okay, great, good.
Meeting all of you.
Good night for now.
Hey, good night.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.